So we are live on the Talent Spotlight podcast with me, Raju. We have special guest today, Lisa Dailey, all the way from the USA. Hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Apart from the UK weather, everything is good down
I
here.
think I think my weather's probably the same. It's pretty
Is
gray
it?
and chilly.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. No, just when I thought it was in the UK. So there's obviously a lot to discuss regarding your book. Obviously, you sent me the link. I've looked a bit at it as much as I could, and I've seen a little bit, and it's very interesting. Some of the stuff, what you've done regarding the books and everything is concerned, and obviously you have some stuff in the works as well regarding the books. On there. But what exactly happened with the first of all the family and the passing away? What exactly happened there?
Right. So starting in about 2008, I had a series of deaths in the family.
Yeah.
And I had seven family members pass away in the span of 5 years. And
Um,
that included my mom and my dad, and a 26-year-old
yeah.
brother, and a 16-year-old cousin to suicide, and my father in law, and my grandfather, who I was
Yeah.
very close with. So it was a lot.
That is a lot. But is it after that you decided to travel? Is that happened after
It
that?
was it was we had we my husband and I had set our sights on a round the world trip for quite some years,
Right.
and it just happened to coincide that right after the deaths happened that we were set and
Yeah.
prepared to go on a trip. I mean, even if I was dealing with grief, life carries on. So
Yeah.
we
That's
were
true.
still moving towards the trip, and it became the right time to go, just in terms of timing for my husband's work and timing for my kids in school. So we left on a unspecified amount of time to travel
Right.
around the world.
So how long would that be then? How long did it
We
take?
we spent 7 months on the road.
7 months.
Hmm.
That is still quite a lot of time you spent. And what about the kids? Were they able to get time off or in this?
We just pulled them out of school, and
Yeah,
for a while I tried really hard to talk to the teachers and principals and say, what can we do to continue their schooling while we're on the road.
yeah,
And the middle school principal said, well, you really can't recreate the middle school experience. I was like, dude, I'm not trying to recreate. I'm trying to get them out of the middle school experience.
yeah,
So there wasn't really any great resources. They could have done online school, but as we traveled around the world, that would have required them to be online in the middle of the night, which that wasn't practical. And we didn't
yeah.
even know if we'd have internet access in every place that we visited.
That's true.
So we didn't really do much. We took them out at a time when they weren't going to miss too much, and we had them read a couple of books on the road. But really, we just sort of considered the trip
Yeah,
itself their education.
yeah. It is. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a very education for, especially for children when you're traveling for such a long time. Definitely. And that must be a good experience for the kids as well on the. And what about yourself? How was it like for traveling for such a long time?
Um, well, I think initially it was very scary.
Yeah,
It was, I was sort of worried about everything as we set out, and I still was kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, what if something happens to one of our kids or to me or my husband on the trip? I was still kind of living in that state of fear, wondering
yeah,
who was going to die next. But as we settled in, I actually think that the trip itself was a great gateway towards healing, because I was able to leave my everyday life behind. I didn't have bills to pay or a work schedule to come home to, and
yeah,
I had nothing. I got to leave everyday life behind and just focus on my husband and my kids and the trip. And I think that a lot of healing really was allowed during that time.
right. Okay. Wow. I mean, It is. I mean, a lot of us we do like want to travel and stuff. Obviously, I mean, with now, I mean, it's getting a lot tougher now with the COVID-19 situation going on. So, how recent was this travel?
So it was 2015, 2016. Mm-hmm.
2015, 16. And then
Yep.
since then, how long have you been writing? When did you?
I've always been writing, but and as we traveled, I blogged about the entire trip. So
Okay.
we visited something like 80 different locations in, I think, 15 countries. And so
Wow.
I blogged about it, all the things that we did. And I'd always had the desire to write a book. And this wasn't the book I thought I would write. I have sort of an idea for a novel in my head, which I always thought would be my first book. But when we came back, it was a pretty big
Yeah.
transition, and I decided not to go back into the regular workforce and spend my time and really write. And this was the book that came out. So it took me about 5 years, just between getting it all together and going through critique and edits and beta readers. So
Yeah.
it took it was about a 5-year process.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you're writing for so much content, then it's going to take. If you're doing it slowly and you're going to get it right, it's going to take a long time to get that out. But as long as you're finally able to get it out, I mean, that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting for a lot of people to read that kind of. What was the response like when the book came out?
The response has been incredible. I actually, when I first sent it out, writing about that more personal aspect of it didn't really bother me, but then putting it into the world, I got a little bit nervous. But I sent it to another author and asked her to review it and asked for some comments on it.
Yeah.
And within like a day, she had written me back and she said, I'm 40 pages into your book. And I have to tell you that I feel like this book came to me at exactly the right time in my life where I needed to hear these things. And
Yeah.
I look at you as this kind of strong and together woman, and to read about you having, been at a state where you were falling apart and really, struggling. She said, that's how people view me. And it's so nice to hear that there's a kindred spirit out there. And she went on, and I was in tears by the end of the email. And I thought, if my book did nothing more than touch that one person, that's awesome. But
Exactly.
the response has been like that again and again, that people have very much enjoyed it, especially right now, coming at a time in the world where we're all experiencing some amount of grief, whether it's loss of family, loss of friends, loss
Absolutely.
of freedoms, loss of employment. There's a huge amount of grief going on right now. And to know that you're not alone, that's a pretty good message. And also there's the whole aspect of travel too. When we're not able to travel during this time, the book kind of provides an outlet for exploring the world from your armchair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It does. And obviously, I mean, a lot of people do want to travel now, but obviously, due to the situation, it is a lot of a risk at the moment traveling wise at the moment on that. So are you yourself? I mean, since the pandemic, are you like waiting for the next time you'll be able to travel again, or?
Yes, I'm on the edge of my seat waiting to travel. I actually had a trip that was canceled last May. I was supposed to go to Chile and host a big writing retreat down in Chile, in Valparaiso. And we were hoping that we were going to be able to get back there this December, but we're sort of just, we're starting waiting and seeing what's going to happen, because, I still don't think we've got everything under control.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the UK, things are better than what they were when it comes to the infection and that kind of stuff. But still, you don't know when there's going to be another wave coming across and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have to be careful. And
yeah, for
your
sure.
loved ones and your family, you got to take care of everyone as well, and follow the precautions and stuff. So I'm not in a rush to do much of traveling at the moment, but on that, but apart from doing stuff like the podcast and that kind of stuff, which is another way of, I think, helping yourself and helping other people. I think that is another way.
Yeah, you probably get to speak to people from all over the place as well.
Yeah, well, it's a very recent podcast, and this podcast is just for anyone who is going to view it on YouTube for the first time. It's basically about giving women who are heading into any talent, whether it's music, writing, content creation, anything, or ones who made a difference in society, a platform for them to excel and give them some exposure. So that's what the podcast is all about.
That's really great.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so yeah, I've had a few interviews and gonna have lots more on the weekend. Now on the it's a bit of a balancing act. But like when I checked on your website, you've written more than one book. You've written quite a few, haven't you?
So the other books that I have
Mm.
listed on my website are primarily anthologies, and
Okay.
so I haven't written the entire books, but I have pieces in each of those books listed on my site. So there's a
Right.
few anthologies in there, a book of poetry, and then one of the books I have a photograph in as well.
Wow. And
Mhm.
are these you're planning to release these at some point?
They're all released. They're
They're
all
released,
available.
all of them.
Hmm.
Okay, so they will be available on, is that via Amazon and all these?
Yep, via really any kind of online platform. They're all available online. Yep. And then our local bookstore carries most of them as well.
Okay, so local bookstores as well. So that's absolutely brilliant. So you said you've traveled, and obviously we've seen that you've written your loads of books as well. And so, what is your favorite book then? Which is the favorite one? Is it this one, the memoir?
I think that the memoir definitely is one of my favorites because it represents such a big chunk of my life and such a big project to have actually finished, 80,000 words, getting all 80,000 words put together in a meaningful way is not always easy. So that's a favorite. But I also publish books for other memoirists and poets, and that's
Yeah.
really a favorite thing that I
Wow.
do. I love creating a book and handing it over to the author and so that they can see what they've done.
Wow. That's really good. So you worked with other authors and you've done stuff for them.
I do. Yep. I do both publishing and website design for primarily for authors.
Primary authors. Wow.
Hmm.
So how do they? So I suppose you have your details available for them if they want to contact you. Is that via your Twitter handle? Like we said, people can see below as well. Lisa Dailey and W Rumbles.
Yeah. So Northwest Rambles. Yep. So that's my blogging site. That's where I do a lot of travel blogging. My
Yeah.
businesses are silentsidekick.com
Okay.
and sidekickpress.com.
Right. Okay. So if people visit you on there, they will be able to get in touch with yourself, and they
Mm-hmm.
will be able to, if they're interested in writing and stuff on there.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have clients around the world, so that's
Wow.
that's one part of technology that makes it nice. My most recent website client is in Portugal, of all places, so that was kind
Wow.
of fun to find someone so far away.
Yeah, that is amazing. That working with authors all around the world. So
Hmm.
that's probably one of the most satisfying stuff to do, which you probably are doing that. I mean, obviously you're promoting this. So so basically the last few days you've been busy. Uh, is it promoting promoting a book?
I have been, yep. I'm trying to, get the word out as much as possible. I mean, marketing a book, it takes a lot of effort. And I think it's not a sprint, you just have to keep promoting and keep promoting and keep promoting. And so I definitely
Exactly.
have some sales goals in mind for Square Up. And when I meet those, well, I'll see where I'm at. I'll see if it's time to call it a day or keep
Yeah.
pushing.
So how hard is it now to promote a book now? Because obviously there's a lot of competition as well nowadays in promoting a book. And then there's also the thing with the limitations now with the COVID-19 as well, with promoting a book. So how tough is it now in the market?
I don't think there's definitely been some changes in terms of like live bookstore launches, but my local bookstore here asked me to come and sign books on the day of my launch. And so they set up a tent outside the bookstore, and it was all, it was outdoors, it was socially distant, but I got to go down and see people and invite people to come down and have me sign live. And that actually was a great turnout, and the bookstore sold out of books. And people were really enthusiastic. They were happy to see one another. Everybody was masked and socially distant, but it felt almost like a return to normal. And then the launch itself was on Zoom, which, I think everyone's sick of Zoom, but at the same time, rather than just having all my local friends and family come to my launch, I mean, I had family from all over the country that were able to enjoy the same thing. So there's pros and cons, but I think if you just keep doing what you're doing, keep promoting, you'll find avenues. And I love the podcast avenue. I've found that there's hundreds of podcasts that promote writers and books. And so I've been just kind of pitching my book to all of them to get the word out.
Yeah, there's a lot of since I went into podcasting, I've seen there's so many podcasters out there, so many people wanting to launch different stuff and different genres, different styles, and there's a lot of people who I think podcasting has given them that a new way of expressing themselves and doing what they want to do.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah, so that's been really good actually. On the Zoom. A lot of people use Zoom and stuff, even though I don't know how to use it myself. But anyway, but I've heard a lot about Zoom, and I'm on there, and I may have to use it soon. But it's something which it's been I think a new tool for writers, magicians as well. Actually, which I've seen on the internet, where they've used Zoom and they're using it for launch parties and all sorts of stuff. So it's
I think we're lucky to have that kind of tool available to us now, especially in this time. If you can imagine having a pandemic and not having that tool and not being able to meet, I don't know, it would have definitely been a different time.
Yeah. That's true. So is your book available? Is it both the ebook version and the paperback version, or both?
Yes, both are available. And I know you're in the UK, but it's available on Amazon UK, both there and here, as well as Australia. And I think there's one more place, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, right, okay. So it's available in. So it's. I mean, if it's Amazon, then obviously it would be available right across the Amazon channels and stuff. I remember when I released a few material myself, it was Amazon made it available to quite a few channels and stuff on there. So that's a good thing about Amazon and these kind of retailers on there. So this is probably keeping you very busy, and obviously your kids and there are others. Probably you do other stuff in your spare time as well.
Well, my kids are older now. So that was when they were, mid teenagers. One's off to college now, and one's almost 21. Right. So they're pretty much grown up and out. But I definitely split my time between work and promotion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You have to have a separate times there between work and promoting it. Find balance and stuff.
Yeah. Of course, if you ask my husband, he would say I work all the time, but I try.
Yeah, for him. Yeah, for him, he would seem that way, to be honest, because because obviously you're doing a lot of stuff with other authors, and then you're promoting your book. That takes a lot of time promoting a book, and people don't realize marketing a book. When I was marketing my books, it takes a lot of time,
It really
and
does.
it does take a lot of time from marketing books and stuff. And it's not that easy to make any books a successful book, or
Hmm.
even whatever we class as successful. I mean, I think as long as you release a book and it's available to the audience, for me, it's already been a success
Hmm.
because you've
Well,
released it.
yeah, and
That's
like I said, really, I mean, if I touched that one person, I mean, that
yeah,
felt
exactly.
successful to me. And I have some sales goals, but I have pretty modest sales goals, and really, it's to pay back the cost of what it cost me to get the book itself done. So,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. As long as you can get them, you can get that out of it. Everything else is a bonus for you, for yourself.
mhm.
And on the but were you able to fit everything in that book which you wanted to fit in?
Well, I think I fit in everything that was pertinent to the story.
Right.
I mean, with any book, you have to have a character arc, and the character has to go through their change. And I found stories from the different countries that we traveled to that
Yeah.
fit that model. I didn't detail every country, and I didn't detail every location that we went to for sure. But I had done that on my website, and now, which is the Northwest Rambles website. And now I plan to republish a lot of those posts that I had originally done and talk about what we did there and talk about the book some more. So there'll be a lot of posts coming
Yeah.
up about each location and country we went to.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything in the book, obviously, without giving anything away, and obviously the read that is best uh, for the viewers, for them to look and get the book and obviously read the book and understand exactly what's it all about. But to give a little example, what would be the highlight for yourself if you were just describing the book?
Sure. Well, there's a couple things. So one is, it's a memoir, and it is about grief, and it is about travel, but
Right.
it's not all sad.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to think that it's all sad. It's also got a good mix of humor in it. My husband is very funny. My children are goofy. So
Yeah.
there's one favorite scene where we visit a restaurant in Cambodia, um, for our off the wall adventure, and they serve tarantula. And so we have
Yeah.
a whole scene about eating tarantula and red treant soup.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part of it would be in Bagan. We were in Myanmar, and we had planned a trip that was um, secret from the children, and and then we surprised them with it, and it was a hot air balloon ride over the temples of Bagan, the 2,000 temples. And so I asked the pilot, I said, it's so still up here. I expected it to be very windy as we were traveling through
Yeah.
the sky. And she's like, that's what a lot of people think, but that's just not the case. And so I kind of end that scene, and I'll just read you a little piece, but it said,
Okay.
my life had been moving in such a way that I felt constantly knocked around by the harsh winds of life. The trick I could see was to rise above it, to float along at the speed of the wind and not let it whip me out of the sky, to find balance. So I think that was probably one of my favorite moments on the trip, and really feeling like, oh, I get it. Kind of everything clicked into place.
Yeah. So do you will you obviously it's going to be difficult touring any places for promotion of the book. Is everything going to be online, the marketing or
Primarily now, yes. As things
yeah,
start to improve, I'm hoping to make appearances at bookstores that are nearby here, up and down Washington State, the freeway
yeah,
here. Um, and I'm originally from Montana, so I may try to get to Montana for some book signings as well. And who knows? I have friends who have done a bit of traveling and taken the book with them, and I've asked them to take a book with them and leave it at the hotel where they were staying. So it's just getting it out there in any way we can right now, and who knows? I mean, I'm hoping as things clear up, I'm actually hoping to have all of the authors that I published during the pandemic come together for a big book signing and party this summer. But that, of course, it's going to depend on where we're at with the virus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be a good idea. Yeah, like I said, everything is online. Majority of it has to be online at the moment due to what's happening and stuff. But yeah, you still, you can do pretty well, I think, if you keep on going and you keep promoting it like what you're doing, and then it should be, you should have a word of mouth should be there, and then yeah, definitely it should be pretty good for yourself. Definitely for the book, and it seems interesting, though I've not, be honest, read all of it, but what I've read, it seems to be very interesting, the book, and
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
on the, and so besides, so you obviously, you said you've written a lot of books now, and they're available, and obviously you do stuff for work on there. So, but what is the thing which made you go into writing on?
So I've actually since started writing the novel that has been in my head for 20 years. So that's been really fun. I'm not trying to really speed through it, and I'm just taking my time and really developing the story. But I'm really, really excited about that project and about getting it done someday.
Okay, wow. Yeah, so you have already goals set, so you want to do this. Wow, that's pretty good. That is,
I do.
You have these kind of goals set on there. So after this podcast, you've got plan to do lots of more promotion, more podcasting.
Today? Not today.
Yeah, not today.
I'll be wrapping up my promotion and everything. I'll be wrapping up my day just as you will be, but
yeah,
it's a lot earlier for me, but it's time to shut it down for the day because I have a 5 a.m. podcast tomorrow morning. So I need 5 a.m. So I'm going to need to get some sleep.
Exactly. Probably best to get some sleep on there then for that. But yeah, definitely. Podcast is a good way to get it out as well. Like I was saying to my previous guest as well, it is a nice way to interact with people, because there would be a lot of people who would be interested in books, who would be viewing the podcast and stuff. So it is a good way. I think it is.
Yeah. Well, it's great. It's great that you're providing that service too. That's very nice.
I am. I felt a little bit bad today though, because when I had a guy sending me a message saying he wants to come on the podcast, and I need to send him a message saying I can't bring you on the podcast because this is the reason why. Because obviously I can't change the format of the podcast once there's a format in place for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely. I mean, he seems very talented. There's loads of podcasts out there who would be happy to get him on there. But yeah, it does take a lot of time though. Since I've been doing the podcast, I've realized it takes a lot of time.
I bet it does.
Yeah. But so I think we've covered a lot of stuff already, and like you said, when they download your book, obviously it's downloadable as well.
It is, yes.
It is on there, and they would be able to. Do they get any special discounts or?
Well, there's different price points for both the paperback version or the Kindle version. So I think the Kindle version, I mean, I don't know what it is in the UK, but it definitely costs less than the paperback version here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, the Kindle version is much cheaper than the the normal paperback versions on Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely on there. So just to quickly summarize again, where can they can purchase your book obviously on Amazon, and they can purchase it on other places as well.
They can, yes. So really, pretty much any online retailer has it. Amazon for sure. Being both the US and the UK, I don't know how the UK works, but there's a bunch of different independent booksellers here that it's also available from in the US, like IndieBound and bookshop.org. So those are two kind of places that support independent bookstores, and it's for sale at both of those places. It's also available from my publishing company, sidekickpress.com. Though I think the mailing would prove probably not to be very cost effective for you.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely it may not actually. It might be it might be better through Amazon, like you said, Amazon.co.uk, which would be easier for the people in the UK. But obviously, uh, whoever views this on this podcast or on any of the podcasts, they will obviously have an insight on yourself. And plus, I think the good thing you've done is you have a website which is very good for authors to have a website, because then it tells everyone exactly what the author is thinking when they were releasing the material, the
Mm-hmm.
books, and it tells them a bit more about the author, who they are looking to purchase their books. It tells them more about them as a person, and what their insights are regarding why they were writing and all that kind of information, which is quite important, isn't it, really, to have all that for the.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it creates that relationship with
Mm.
with your target audience. Once they read that and they feel a connection to you and they stay connected to you.
So that is lisa-daily.com, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. And then my blog is Northwest Rambles, but you can actually get to the blog from Lisa Dailey, lisa-daily.com. Yep.
So you have the website, you have your own publishing company as well.
I do. Yes,
That's a lot of work.
it
A
is.
lot of work having a publishing company. And when did you set this up?
So I actually started working in publishing early in my career, 25 years ago. And I've been a tech writer for computer software and been pretty heavily involved with technology all throughout my career. And when we got back from the trip, I decided I didn't want to work for anyone else. I just wanted to work for myself. So I've run the website design company since I've returned, so 5 or 6 years now. And then a couple of years ago, a friend of mine's who ran the publishing company wanted to retire and just write. So she said that she thought I was a great fit to take it over, and so I purchased it from her because I had worked with her for many, many years as well. So
Right. Okay.
Yep.
That's very interesting. But yeah, so that really does keep you busy with publishing, and then the authors,
It does.
and then releasing your own stuff as well on top of that. So how are you balancing everything?
Right now I'm only taking on a select number of clients every month in terms of websites. I don't like to take on more than 2 a month. And in terms of publishing, that's a process. So I can actually take on quite a few titles at one time. For instance, now I'm working on 3 different memoirs and a book of poetry and a hiking guide that are all going to be coming out later this year. But they're all in different stages. And I don't do everything myself. I facilitate the publishing, but I have cover designers that I hire, and I have proofreaders and copy editors. So all of the things are in a different state. And what really takes the time is to read through the material to make sure that it's something that I want to publish through the company. And so that becomes a little bit hard because I have to write a lot of rejection letters, which I don't really like writing rejection letters, but some stories are just not quite ready for publication. But I always try to respond to everyone who sends their work to me. And if it's not a great fit for me to publish, I try to let them know why, and if their work needs more help, I try to let them know where those points are and why I wouldn't necessarily take it for publication. And then I try to point them to resources where they can find help to get their material into a state where it's fit for publication.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no shame in getting rejected, I think. As an author, you are going to get some kind of rejection. You may most likely get some kind of rejection. I've seen it myself when I was publishing as an author. So it does happen. But I think if you get that, then it's a learning curve for them, and they can come back stronger, or they can improve and then finally get the book published anyway. So it's not the ends all for them.
Right.
Regarding that, but yeah, that's a lot of stuff. Is there anything else you would like to tell the people who are going to watch this?
Oh, I would just say, if you're a writer, keep writing, or if you're a creator, keep creating. The world needs to hear your story and see your talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And out of all of your work, I think the first one, the memoirs, all of them seem interesting, but this one seems to be, like you said, this one seems to be the one for me, which is, as per the website, stands out a lot. Because I think when you go through some real experiences, when you go through every single thing which is real, which has happened to you, and you put it onto a book, that's like a part of you, isn't it, really?
It really is. It really is. And I think that's true whether the story is your own or even if you're writing fiction, it's a work from your mind. It's a creation from your mind and your hands. And so putting that out into the world really is like your baby. It's your piece of art and your piece of creation that you're putting out there.
So they can find you on Twitter, like we mentioned.
Yep.
Are you on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook. Yep. I have an author page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. All over the place.
Is it the same kind of name on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah.
Search and find you.
Yep. I think that you would find me. Me personally, I definitely post under Northwest Rambles. That's where I post a lot of my travel information. I also have Lisa Dailey, where I publish a lot about my book and other creative endeavors that I do. And then I have Sidekick Press, which is the publishing company that's out there.
All right, okay. So there's a lot of social media, but it must be nice to, and you must be interacting with a lot of the people who are interested in your book on social media as well.
Yeah, I am. I try to post quite often, and always, just like the rejection letters or the people who send their work to me, I try to personally respond to everything. So
that's nice. As long as it's not like, I mean, it's nice for them that they're getting a personal letter back from yourself. Like there are some companies out there, without saying anyone, who probably won't do that.
Probably, I know. Unfortunately, I mean, it would be great if that were the way, but I don't think that is for
nice
everyone.
That you do it a personal touch and you send them individual. That's nice for those potential authors out there. Because then they realize it is someone who's sending it back. It's not like it's auto-generated letters.
Right.
That's disheartening, isn't it, if you get them from people?
It is, yes. I've had plenty of work rejected and just had a letter that came back as just a form letter.
Form letter, yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. On there, anything else you would like to mention? I think I've asked what I felt asking because with my podcast, I admit, and I said this to my previous guest, none of it is scripted. It's all unscripted.
Yeah. No, I think you covered it. I think you hit all the points.
Any final points you want to say regarding your books or regarding writing or anything?
I mean, really go out and buy Square Up. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they were to be disappointed in that no matter where they are in the world, they will be able to purchase your book
Yeah.
on the websites on there. And obviously, I hope your rest of your marketing and everything goes well, and you know your book does
Yeah.
really well. I mean,
Great.
and it does really well, and people can experience your journey. Like we can see on the website, they can experience that physically or on the ebook. I'm sure it would be a great experience for everyone who's suffering from the pandemic or who have people who they know who's suffered from it as well. It
Yes,
should
for
help them.
sure. I do hope I can, reach the people in need of having someone understand
Yeah,
their story.
definitely. It has definitely been a pleasure, Lisa.
Thank you. Thanks
Uh,
for
thank,
having me today.
thank you very much for coming on. On there, I know you had a jam-packed schedule today because when we were sending each other
Uh,
messages, you were mentioning that it was a very jam-packed schedule of creating a podcast and stuff, and on there, and that's hard to keep that up, but you kept it up really well there, and you obviously have an early one tomorrow as well, and I
I
have a
do.
and I'm going to crash out as well. And on there, and obviously, like I said before, you can catch Lisa on Twitter on Lisa Dailey at NW Rambles as well. On there, and thank you very much, Lisa. And on there, and hopefully we will. Whenever you're releasing your next material, I'm sure, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get you back online. Yeah,
That would be great. I'd love to
on
come back.
on the Talent Spotlight podcast. Thank you very much and enjoy. What time is it down there anyway in the USA?
It's
I know
4:00, 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I've got an uncle in Houston, Texas as well. So he's yeah, so it'll probably be round about near that time as well down there.
Yeah, I think in Houston it's probably an hour or two later.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, it probably was a little bit different when he calls us, yeah, and stuff. Yeah, so it is a bit different on there. But yeah, uh, thank you very much, Lisa, and have enjoyed the rest of the day and hope the book goes really well there and sells.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. Thank you.